If you got the sack to come up and ask me about it, then I'm going to sit there and I'm going to have a conversation with you about it. Hey, I'm Misfit Heathens Desert Crew MF, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Misfit.
So you're always going to be on point. Yeah, there's no drinking whatsoever when you're prospecting.
So when you first come across this club and you see the patch and all that, what were your thoughts about the back patch and the symbolism of it?
Actually, coming from prison, you see a lot of those inside the joint. You see a lot of swastikas. You see a lot of lightning bolts. You see a lot of that. At first, I thought, oh, okay, well, these guys, what they talk about and what I see on the patch, they're not coinciding. You know what I mean? Like when you're in the joint, you see the guys that have the swastikas and the bolts, and you know what they're about inside there. Out here, when I saw the swastika, I kind of thought maybe, but after hearing their take on the club and how they're family oriented and meeting other members of the club, I realized it wasn't like that. Basically, what I saw it as is, hey, it's just a big FU to the world. You know what I mean? Hey, this is us. We're not like that. And if you don't like it, you can go F yourself.
Have you seen a lot of situations because of that back piece?
Oh yeah, I have. I get people that actually give me sideways looks when I'm wearing it now. You know what I mean? I can tell. I see a lot of the older folks giving me sideways glances. You know what I mean? I could tell they were probably ex-military or something. And of course, I got the damn yuppies and the Birkenstock wearing flakes out there who look at me when I'm wearing my cut. You know what I mean? They look at me and sideways glance me, but I look over at it and give them a little glare, and they're like, oh yeah, no, I better watch myself. But yeah, I get looks, man, but all someone's got to do is ask me, man, and you know what? I'll break it down. You know what I mean? I'm not scared to tell you. If you got the sack to come up and ask me about it, then I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna have a conversation with you about it. I'm gonna respect you for coming up to me. Now, don't be whispering behind my back and talk, because it could go south for you real quick. But if you want to come up and talk to me, man, come on up, man. I'm not gonna tell you anything different, but I'll break it down what it means to me.
Because when I was doing my research and I first seen it, I was like, maybe it is like that. I don't know. I got to do my research. But then I met Coyote.
Yeah, my brother.
Like,
yeah,
what? That would be an oxymoron.
Yeah,
I'm like, this is quite interesting.
Yeah, the first time I met Coyote, man, was at a little club here in town. I actually went in. I was actually prospecting at that time, and I went in with Troll. He was the guy who I had first met who started prospecting, and we went in there, and he used to be with a metal club at that point. His metal club president and vice president were there, and I guess they said some stuff to Travis about there was some guys in the club that might cause an issue because we were wearing a swastika. That wasn't the case at all. I had known Travis previously to this because I'd seen him around. I used to ride skateboards. I wasn't his, to hang out with him or anything, but I'd seen him at the skate parks. I'd seen him around. I knew who he was. I'd seen him at metal shows when I'd go there, you know what I mean? And I was always cordial, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? But yeah, man, having Travis come on board, that was a big step for us because he's actually the first, man. He is actually the first.
That is huge. It really is. It breaks barriers. It opens up doors for a lot of different things. And since he's the first, was it always a white club? Was it started out like that?
I would say it started out as a full white club because there was a couple guys, white Mexican guys in the beginning who were in the club as well, but we never had any people of color in there. You know what I mean? I know at one point, the chapter here in Arizona, they tried to make it that way, like the old chapter. This was before I even got started, way back in 2010 when they came to Arizona. Before I even got in a club, they tried to make it that way. That got shut down quick and fast. You know what I mean? Some guys came in and said that, well, if you're wearing that, that's what we're going to do. And they said, no, that's not what we're going to do. And that got shut down quick and fast. So, that's not what we're about by any means. We're not a racial club. We're not a supremacist club. Like I said, to us, it's just a basic big fu to society. We're going to do what we want, and if you don't like it, go fuck yourself.
I think a lot of people maybe get a misconception on what's the bag piece.
Oh, they truly do. I know they do that. You know, that's why I said I don't have a problem if someone's got the sack to come up and talk to me. Man, pull up a seat. You got a minute? You know, get a Snickers. We'll be here a while.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, what is the history that you know about the club and how it was created and when it was created?
Well, I know it was started back in 1973 in Venice, California. I know that we actually, believe it or not, we had started out with, where we got the buzzard from. That was from a sporting goods store out of Oregon that closed. And then they adopted the swastika on the bottom. They didn't have the swastika before, but they adopted the swastika when things kind of were going, in the 70s, early 70s. There was a lot of racial tension back then, with different clubs. And that was more of an intimidation factor that was put on for it. They put that down for an intimidation factor. Our club, they've been around for a while. Like I said, it started out in Venice, California. Started out, with the 22 original members, and then some shit happened. Then the club dropped all the way down, and we had 5 original members who started the club come back and bring it back, and it's just grown from there.
Yeah, kind of went off the radar for a little bit, right?
Yeah, we did go off the radar for a little while, kind of went low. We had some things go south. With not getting into too much detail about it, one of the things was we took over a cop shop, actually.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, went in, took out some evidence, and basically took a cop shop over, took some evidence, got some stuff out. I don't know, it's all out there for everybody to read, you know what I mean? It's not something that's hidden. You just got to be able to find it, and it's all public knowledge.
Yeah, there's books about your club.
There is. There are books about our club.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So it has a wild history to it. What does it mean to be a heathen to you?
To me, me being a heathen, man, it's I'm gonna do what I want. No one's gonna tell me what I can and can't do. I'm just gonna do whatever I feel like I want to do. I'm not above the law because something can happen, but I am above the law at that point. You know what I mean? I'm going to do what I want to do. No one's going to tell me any different. That's why I rock the patch that I rock. To me, it's family, my brotherhood, just being with my family and my brothers on a daily basis is a drive that I have for this club.
So when you were a prospect, what was it like when you finally got your patch?
I felt a little bit of a gratitude and achievement right there, that they had finally, accepted me and gave me that next step up to keep continuing forward. Because when you're prospecting, they don't say, hey, attaboy, that's good, you're doing this, you're doing, you don't get none of that, man. You don't know if you're doing the right thing, you're not doing the right thing. And then when they present you with it, you're like, wow, I must have been doing shit right. These guys, they saw something in me.
Yeah, because everybody doesn't make it. Have you seen people come and go?
Man, in the time I've started, I've seen 4 guys try to start and failed. Couldn't even make it. You know what I mean? Couldn't even make it their prospecting period, let alone get to the probationary period. They just didn't have it in them, man. It's not for everybody. What we do is not for everybody by any means. You know what I mean? You gotta have the want and the drive to do what we do. And if that's not what you want, then this, like I said, our lifestyle is not for you by any means.
No, well, you guys being in a club and say someone has a drinking problem or something, and they come to you guys and say, listen, I got a problem. What would be you guys' response to them?
Well, we definitely have to have an intervention. We'd have to have a talk with them. We bring it to the table and we talk about it. And, if the guy needed help, we try to help him out. You know what I mean? If he's around us, we'd make sure he's not drinking. We can't tell everybody what to do when, it's their personal life, man. You honestly can't tell a grown man what to do. You know what I mean? If he wants to do it when he's not around us, he's going to do whatever he wants. That even goes with drugs. We do not allow any hard drugs whatsoever. I mean, being in Arizona, people smoke pot. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But anything hard, you're shooting drugs intravenously. You're doing stuff that interferes with the club, whether it be drugs or alcohol. We're going to bring it to your attention. We're going to have a sit down and we're going to figure this out. And if you can't get off that wagon and you still want to, be a jackass, then, there's going to be consequences, whether it be, busting you back down or, exiting you from the club 100% all the way around. You know, we're here not to do that to anybody. We want to keep our brothers around. So yeah, we're going to intervene, and we're going to, you know, we're going to watch. Like I said, we are our brother's keeper, and we want to watch our brothers back. We want them to succeed where we're at right now. But if there's something that they can't do, like I said, it's not for everybody. You can't tell a grown man what to do when he's not around you. They're going to do what they want to do anyways. But no, if there's an issue where it starts affecting them and the club, yeah, we definitely have to bring it to the table, and we're going to talk about it.
And you guys are very meticulous on who you pick. You don't just let anybody in this club, right?
Oh, no, we don't have an open door policy. Hey, come on in and, you know, do that. No, man, it's, you know, we see people out and around, and some people inquire about the club, and we say, hey man, you know what? You want to come by and swing over to the clubhouse and check us out? You know what I mean? That's cool. But you know, it's not like, hey, come on over and join the club. Hey, you know, here's our clubhouse. We have an open house. Come on over, you know, have a drink, whatever, you know. They come around. If they start coming around, cool. If they don't, it is what it is. You know, we're not here to, like I said, have an open door policy where everybody just runs in and joins the club. We are very selective. You know, people that do come around, you're going to meet the whole club before you even think about even asking about any questions or anything, you know. And then as a club, we'll sit down and we'll discuss that person who's actually hanging around, you know, doing the hangout thing, not prospecting, not anything like that, just being a hang around, you know. Come around, they come to your events, they go to different things, you know what I mean? But yeah, we just don't let any Joe Schmo roll in here and say, hey, I want to do this. You know, that's not how that works by any means.
Have you ever had someone come there and be like, hey, I want to, and you guys are like, nah, we're good?
Yeah, we've actually been out a couple times at this little place called the Buffet. It's kind of funny. And there was one guy that was in there one night, and he was talking, oh, I got a motorcycle and I got all this. And we, you know, he's like, hey man, you guys look like you're pretty cool people, man. I'd like to join your club. And we just looked at him like, bro, you don't know any of us. You're not going to join our club. You know, it's not just a social club. We say, hey, I want to join. I'll be there tomorrow type of thing. But yeah, we've had people actually say that they want to come and join a club like it's going to happen like right now. You know what I mean? And that's not how it works by any means. There's, you know, you got to come around and you got to meet everybody first and foremost. You just don't jump right into the conversation of, hey, I want to join. Yeah. Not how that works.
It takes a long time. It's a long process.
Oh, it really does, man. Like I said, for me, I was almost to hang around for a full year before I even thought about joining the club. And I mean, you know, you got to have some time to get to know people, get to know that person who wants to try and join. You know what I mean? You know, you don't know what they're into, what they're not into, who they really are. You know what I mean? I know there's a lot of, not saying that we've ever had it, but you know, there's a lot of LE clubs that are out there, and you know, you might try to send an LE person into the club just to see what they're about, infiltrate them, and you know, we're just not going to do that. You know, we're just we're going to check you out first, and you know, everyone's going to meet you first, then we're going to bring you to the table and talk about you before you even go any further.
So what do you think of the LE clubs?